get started. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is the card sort. I'm going to take these cards. Each of the cards has a different experience or situation listed on it. Okay. I'm going to ask a series of questions, and you're going to sort the cards into 4 groups in response to those questions. Okay. So the first question, would you consider each of the following experiences to be using contraception or birth control? Yes, definitely. Maybe, it depends. No, definitely not. And don't know. And if you can, as you're sorting, if you could read the card and talk to me about how or why you're classifying it in each of the groups.
Okay. Would you consider each of the following experiences using contraception or birth control? For this one, no, definitely not.
Can you read the card?
Yeah. Had an in-clinic abortion, procedural surgical abortion. Had an IUD inserted before having unprotected sex. Would you consider it birth control or contraception? Yes. Had an ectopic pregnancy removed. Contraception or birth control? No, definitely not. Had a procedure to remove a fetus with no cardiac activity. Contraception or birth control? No, definitely not. Ended a pregnancy after genetic testing revealed severe genetic abnormalities. Contraception or birth control? Hold on. Ended a pregnancy. No, definitely not. Ended a pregnancy by taking abortion pills described by a health care provider. Contraception or birth control? No, not. No, definitely not. Would you consider each of the following experiences? Oh, sorry. Contraception or birth control for had a miscarriage? No, definitely not. Ended a pregnancy by taking abortion pills ordered online. Contraception or birth control? No, definitely not. Used a period tracker fertility awareness app. Contraception? Yes, definitely. Discarded unused embryos from IFV treatment. Contraception or birth control? Definitely not. Took abortion pills before taking a pregnancy test. Contraception or birth control? No, definitely not. Missed a period. Contraception? Definitely not. Took emergency contraceptive pills, Plan B, for example, 1 day after unprotected sex. Contraception or birth control? Definitely not. Took birth control pills daily, oral contraceptive pills. Contraception or birth control? Yes, definitely. Had one penis removed when pregnant with triplets. Contraception or birth control? Definitely not. Got sick while pregnant, which caused the end of the pregnancy, caused the pregnancy to end. Contraception or birth control? No, definitely not. Had copper IUD inserted 3 days after unprotected sex. contraceptive or birth, yes, definitely.
Walk me through these situations under yes, definitely.
Had an IUD inserted before having unprotected sex, that is a form of contraception or birth control because it's to prevent pregnancy from occurring.
Similarly for the other.
Okay, used a period tracker fertility awareness app is a form of contraception or birth control because it's looking to prevent the conception from happening. And took birth control pills daily is a form of contraception or birth control because it's to prevent conception from happening. And had a copper IUD inserted 3 days after unprotected sex is a form of contraception or birth control because it's having an IUD installed into the body, which is the intention is to prevent conception from happening.
Great. I think I saw you had some hesitation around
I had to probably understand it better.
genetic testing revealed severe genetic abnormalities.
Okay, and ending a pregnancy
Mm-hmm.
is not contraception or birth control.
Okay. Okay. Were there any cards that you weren't quite sure, like whether you want to put it in which group you wanted to put it in?
No, I have a pretty good idea of what contraception and birth control is. Birth control is contraception.
Tell me a little bit more. How do you define birth control and contraception?
It's before conception happens.
Okay. Steps taken to
Prevent conception.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any difference between these two terms, contraception and birth control?
There is no difference. However, I understand that people have different interpretations.
Tell me a little bit more. How do you define birth control or contraception differently than
Well, there are, I don't, I've read about people using birth control like contraception. It hasn't been explained well enough for them. I mean, ending whatever exists in the body after conception is not birth control.
Okay. But other people might consider it to be? Is that what you're saying?
From what I've read. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on. We're going to use the same cards, but I'm going to ask you a different question.
Okay. Yeah, good idea.
Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer.
Well,
so.
it can get tricky with the
Absolutely.
have to stay solid with the understanding.
Yeah. Okay. So would you consider each of the following experiences as a miscarriage?
Oof.
Yes, definitely. No, don't know.
Got sick while pregnant, which caused the end of a pregnancy. Yes, definitely. Had an ectopic pregnancy removed. No. Took emergency contraceptives pills plenty 1 day after unprotected sex. No. Had a miscarriage. Yes, definitely. Took abortion pills before taking a pregnancy test. And experienced a miscarriage? No, definitely. Took abortion pills before taking a pregnancy test. And there was a miscarriage? No, definitely not. Missed a period that has nothing to do with miscarriage. Following experience. Would you consider each of the following experiences a miscarriage? Missed a period? No. No, definitely not. Had a procedure to remove a fetus with no cardiac activity. That is not a miscarriage. Ended a pregnancy after genetic testing revealed severe genetic abnormalities. No, that is not a miscarriage. Discarded unused embryos from IVF treatment. No, that is not a miscarriage. Ended a pregnancy by taking abortion pills to describe it. No, that is not a miscarriage. Had an in-clinic abortion. No, that is not a miscarriage. Used a period tracker, fertility awareness app. That has nothing to do with miscarriage, so no, definitely not. Ended a pregnancy by taking abortion pills ordered online. No, that is not a miscarriage. Had a copper IUD inserted 3 days after unprotected sex. That has nothing to do with miscarriage. Took birth control pills daily, oral contraceptions. That has nothing to do with miscarriage. Had an IUD inserted before having unprotected sex. That has nothing to do with miscarriage. Had one fetus removed when pregnant with triplets. Has nothing, no, definitely not.
So tell me about these two under yes, definitely.
Got sick while pregnant, which caused the pregnancy end. That falls within the realm of miscarriage. You know, the body is naturally rejecting whatever has been created in there. You know, of course, naturally sick is really something. If you have the flu or whatever, you know, if you catch something inadvertently, you have, you know, have a debilitating disease. Yeah.
All right. So the bulk of the cards went under no, definitely not here. Tell me about these cards, like why do you not consider them a miscarriage?
Well, my understanding of a miscarriage and the way it was taught is that it's, you know, the body expels the fetus on its own, or whatever the conceived cells, right, on its own.
Okay.
So everything else here is a choice, a deliberate choice. Yeah. And some have nothing to do with it. Like this, took birth control pills daily has nothing to do with a miscarriage.
Were there any that you were kind of unsure about where to place them?
No. Just, you know, there wasn't a section that said this has nothing to do with miscarriage.
I see. Yeah.
So those I would put in another, because it doesn't even fall under no, definitely not. It just had more sense to fit under this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were saying that you defined miscarriage as the body expelling the pregnancy.
Suddenly and unexpectedly.
Okay. All right. How do you think other people might define miscarriage differently than you?
That one, I think I'm more firm on that. Like, I think people would agree that is what a miscarriage is.
Yeah.
Yeah. As opposed to the other question with birth control, people are a little bit more, they put it in, like, you know, different area.
Yeah. All right, let me just take a photo. I'm just going to pull this a little closer. Try one more time. Oops.
You want to take it from this side as
No, it's the
That's okay.
the height that's kind of getting me. one more card sort. Would you consider each of the experiences as an abortion?
Okay, got sick while pregnant, which caused it, no, definitely not. Not an abortion. Had an ectopic pregnancy removed, yes, definitely. Took emergency contraceptive pill one day after unprotected sex. That's a tricky one because somebody doesn't know if they're pregnant or not. Took emergency contraceptive pills one day after unprotected. Oh gosh. It's, you know, with this type of a drug, you know, it's not right away. You know what I mean? Like, people will know if they expel. Okay, so I have to put this somewhere. Would you consider each of the following experiences an abortion? Just because somebody, they might not, may not be pregnant. So, maybe it depends. Maybe it depends gets one. Yay. Had a miscarriage? No, definitely not. Missed a period? No, definitely not. Took birth control pills daily? No. Took abortion pills before taking a pregnancy test. Let me see. Took abortion pills before taking a pregnancy test. An abortion. You know, this is like, it depends. Discarded unused embryos from IVF treatment. Yes, definitely. Ended a pregnancy by taking abortion pills. Yes, definitely. Had a procedure to remove a fetus with no cardiac activity. No, definitely not. Had an in-clinic abortion. Yes, definitely. Used a no, definitely not. Ended a pregnancy by taking abortion pills. Ended a pregnancy, yes, definitely. Had a copper IUD inserted 3 days after unprotected sex. No, we don't know if it's going to end in abortion. So, had an IUD inserted before having. I mean, like with this, doctors got to do the IUD. So they would be most likely doing a pregnancy test before putting in that IUD, you know. So that's not going to even happen probably. The doctor would say, you're pregnant and I cannot put this IUD in you, or I'm not actually sure what would happen. The doctor would say, you're pregnant and you either have to end this because by putting this in, you might have serious complications because that'll affect the fetus. Okay. Had an IUD inserted before having unprotected sex? No, definitely not. Had one fetus removed when pregnant with triplets? Yes, definitely. And ended a pregnancy after genetic testing reveals? Yes, definitely.
Walk me through the yes, definitely group.
Well, this is a pregnancy. An ectopic pregnancy removed means that it's alive. All right, there's cellular division happening for life, which can, I've read situations where people didn't even know they were pregnant and ended up being ectopic. I mean, they're rare, and then they have the baby, and the baby's healthy. That's rare. All right, usually ectopic pregnancy is in an awful, horrible situation, but it is still an abortion. You have to end the pregnancy. Yeah. Okay, discarded unused embryos from IVF treatment. Yes, that's they're embryos.
Okay. Can I ask if just going back, ectopic pregnancy. How do you define ectopic pregnancy?
An ectopic pregnancy is one that happens outside of the uterus.
Okay.
It's extremely dangerous. And I mean, that one amazing article, like insane and amazing article I read about that was actually published, that was accessible. We don't know about all of them. That the person didn't know they were pregnant, and yet it ended up being, she brought this baby, it ended up being, I don't even know how that, like, how did it was even delivered, whatever, you know. But the baby was healthy, and she didn't even know she was pregnant. You know, one of those situations where the person didn't even know they were pregnant until they were actually delivering. But yeah, it's a very, it could lead to the death of the mother, but it's still an abortion.
Sure. Okay.
And I don't mean to be laughing. These are extremely serious things.
Yeah.
You know, that women are faced with.
Yes. Yeah. The discarded unused embryos from IVF treatment. Does it? Do you make any distinction between? I don't want to say between, but some other people have mentioned that it's not in the body or it hasn't been implanted yet. Does that make a difference to you? No. Okay. Great. Go on. Let's go.
Okay. Ended a pregnancy by taking abortion pills prescribed by that's an abortion.
Okay.
It's abortion pills. They know they're pregnant. So had an in-clinic abortion, that's an abortion. Ended a pregnancy by taking abortion pills. They were pregnant. Okay. Had one fetus removed when pregnant with triplets. Yes, it's an abortion. Had one removed. Ended a pregnancy after genetic testing revealed severe. Yeah, it's still an abortion.
Okay. Tell me the ambivalence with the maybe it depends.
Because just having unprotected sex does not lead to a pregnancy. It may or may not. So emergency contraceptive pills is the doubt. I don't know whether or not, you know, the situation resulted in a pregnancy. They're just being extra cautious. You don't know right away. You know, the person doesn't know whether they're pregnant or not. That's it. So maybe if they are pregnant, it's an abortion. If they're not pregnant, then it wasn't. You know, took abortion pills before taking a pregnancy test. You know, that's kind of like the same thing. I mean, it depends. Maybe because if somebody could believe or feel that they're pregnant. I know people that are like, I knew I was pregnant the minute I had sex. You know, like they knew. So. Depends. That's why it's a maybe depends.
Okay. Depends on if they had other symptoms of pregnancy. Is that what you're
if they knew or sensed that? That's why it's a maybe. And to take abortion pills, it's the idea is to abort whatever is there.
Yeah.
May have occurred.
Fair. What about the no, definitely not group?
Well, it's not, because this would fall under miscarriage, and it's not an abortion. It's not It's not an intended end to a pregnancy. So it's not.
So they got sick while pregnant.
Yeah. I mean, it's unintentionally sick. Like, you know, if somebody's taking what is this, a white oleander, and then they get sick while you're trying to end your pregnancy. You know, stuff like that. You know. So, but just sick, like if somebody, you know, gets cancer or acquires some sort of disease or violent virus and the pregnancy ends, it wasn't intentional. There are plenty of women that, you know, hang on to the last day to have that pregnancy to term, and they're very sick, you know what I mean, and they want it, you know. Had a miscarriage, a miscarriage is not an abortion, it's not intentional. Missed a period, that doesn't constitute an abortion. Took birth control pills daily, no, because that's to prevent conception. Had a procedure to remove a fetus with no cardiac activity. That is not an abortion because there's no life, there's no further cell division. The fetus is I mean, the brain can the brain will soon stop functioning when there is no cardiac activity. So, the fetus is, not viable or whatever. But I shouldn't even say that, it means it's gonna, the miscarriage is gonna happen to have necrotic tissue continue in the body. That's dangerous. So it's not an abortion. It's got to be removed. Used a period tracker fertility awareness app. No, that has nothing to do with abortion. Had a copper IUD inserted 3 days after unprotected sex. Now, I think I went over that already, that the doctor that's about to install an IUD will most likely do a pregnancy test. And then from there, they will probably say it's unsafe to put in the IUD because there's a pregnancy. So then the person has to make the decision to then, not have the IUD and bring the pregnancy to term or get the abortion. But the copper IUD will most likely, if inserted, will abort the baby on some level. Had an IUD inserted before having, no, that's not, has nothing to do with abortion.
Okay. And how would you define abortion in your own words?
The intentional ending of a pregnancy.
And how might other people define it differently than you?
I think it's pretty clear that I think other people have the same idea that an abortion is the intentional ending of a pregnancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was sort of stuck on, you were saying that this has to be removed, right? Is that why it's not?
No, it doesn't have to be removed, actually.
Okay.
Some people can bring a fetus, a dead fetus to term and deliver naturally even. I mean, that it would have to prove like that the doctors would have to say, hey, your fetus is going to harm you. It's going to be toxic and cause serious issues to you, and that's why we have to remove it. I mean, I've read situations where, women do that, and then women are like, they go crazy, like, I have to get rid of this out of my body because it's very, there's a lot of, it's a turbulent time mentally as well. To have something dead. Some women are different, but actually knowing that this baby is dead and it's inside, different women deal with it differently. And then the factors are, if it's going to harm the person, the factors could be, I don't want this dead baby inside, and if they were looking to really get pregnant, then, the swifter removal, maybe they can get pregnant again more quickly.
When you say the factors, are you saying the factors in whether you place something like that in as an abortion or not? Is that what you mean by factors? Okay.
No, this is not an abortion.
Okay.
Because it's basically already dead.
Okay.
The fetus is dead.
Okay.
And there's not going to be any life here. Yeah.
All right. Great. Let me take a picture of it. Okay, so we're done with these cards. We can just pull them together.
Oh, sure.
Great, thank you.
Now for the Rorschach.
The next set of the next activity is a series of stories, and I just want to hear your reaction to the stories. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. Okay, so scenario 1, or person A realizes that their period is late They take a pregnancy test at a clinic.
Mhm.
The test is positive. They get abortion pills at the clinic. They take the pills according to the directions. They go back to the clinic 4 weeks later and take another pregnancy test. The pregnancy test is negative.
Mhm.
Okay. Would you characterize their experience as an abortion, a miscarriage, using birth control, something else?
Abortion.
Or some
Abortion,
combination.
right here.
Abortion?
Mhm.
Tell me about that. Why are you characterizing it as an abortion?
Okay, because like everything else I've said, they were pregnant.
Hmm.
They got abortion pills.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to laugh, but and then they're not pregnant anymore 4 weeks later because of the abortion pills.
Okay. I'm going to change the story slightly.
Okay.
And this time, instead of getting the pills at a clinic, they got the pills online. They take them accordingly, and 4 weeks later, they take a test, and the test is negative.
Abortion.
Abortion, okay. Same thing?
Mm-hmm. The intention is to end the pregnancy.
Hmm.
And the pregnancy ended with the abortion pills.
Fair. Okay. So person B.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? Let me ask you. You said the intention was to have to end the pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
What if I gave you some context and told you that person A wanted to end the pregnancy because they felt that they couldn't afford a child?
Still ending the pregnancy, it's still an abortion.
Okay. What if I told you they were in an abusive relationship?
It's still an abortion. No, like judgment on the
Yeah.
person, and you know, but it's still an abortion.
Okay. Yeah. Same procedure, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And is there anything about person A's experience that would change how you characterize their experience?
You know, the word is abortion,
Mm-hmm.
so that's what it is.
Okay. So I think you were honing in on having taken the abortion pills.
Mm-hmm.
If they hadn't taken abortion pills.
And the pregnancy ended, then it's a
Uh-huh.
miscarriage. If they were beaten, if they fell down a flight of stairs, it's a miscarriage.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so person B. Person B is 20 weeks pregnant. Routine screening for genetic abnormalities reveals the fetus has encephaly, a serious birth defect in which the fetus is developing missing parts of the brain and skull. They go to the clinic to have a procedure to end the pregnancy.
It's an abortion, ending the pregnancy.
Okay.
That's it, you know. Yeah, these are horrible situations to be in, but
Okay. Okay. That was quite definitive. Okay.
it's not birth control, it's not miscarriage, it's not something else. It's still abortion. You gotta end it. Or gotta, you know, or it's still intentionally removing the conception, the pregnancy, no matter what is going on there, sick, you know, genetic, whatever, you know, it's ending.
Yeah. I'm going to change the story slightly. This time, testing reveals that if the pregnancy continues, person B may die. Would you consider this an abortion, miscarriage?
It's an abortion. They're going to get their pregnancy removed, you know, so that they could live. You know, it's like the people, you know, if I didn't have the abortion, I would have died. Well, you know, it's still an abortion.
Yeah. Okay. You can change it slightly again. Testing reveals that if the pregnancy continues, the person B may not be able to have children in the future.
It's an abortion.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed
Yeah.
with the definition of abortion. No.
Okay.
Says pregnancy continues and not be having. Yeah, no. They're ending the pregnancy. They're intentionally ending the pregnancy for whatever reason.
Okay. Yeah. One more change.
Okay. No worries. No worries.
So person B, again, is 20 weeks pregnant. Genetic testing reveals that the fetus has Down syndrome, a genetic chromosomal disorder. Again, they go to the clinic to have the procedure to end the
They
pregnancy.
ended the pregnancy. Intentional end to the pregnancy. It's abortion. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the story that would have changed how you characterize their person B's experience?
For this one,
Yeah, person
anything
B.
in the story that it's an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, have a person with Down syndrome. They're going to have a person with Down syndrome. You know, and they end the pregnancy. They don't bring this Down syndrome person into the world. It's an abortion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, person C. So person C uses condoms when having penile vaginal sex with their partner. One night the condom breaks. The next day they go to the pharmacy to get emergency contraceptive pills. They take the emergency contraception as directed. Would you characterize that as having an abortion, a miscarriage, using birth control, or something else? Or some combination?
Well, it's a form, again, I don't know what happens after they go get emergency contraception. Do they have an expulsion of blood right away? Right? I don't know. I never looked that up. I want to. But if they, if their uterus begins to contract and, emergency contraceptive pills, I don't know whether that happens with pregnancy or without pregnancy, if there's an expulsion of blood. And there's no defining if the person is pregnant or not, right? So we don't know. Because we don't know if the person's pregnant or not, depending upon if it can be determined that someone was pregnant and then the pills would have caused an abortion. Yeah, that's all I can say about that.
So without knowing if the person is pregnant, you just don't know.
Yeah, it would have to be determined that the person was pregnant to classify what happens as an abortion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say that I'm just asking, would you say that they use birth control or that there's something else is going on?
Well, my understanding of birth control is to prevent a pregnancy.
Uh-huh.
Prevent. So conception does not happen.
Mm-hmm.
That is the definition of birth control. Prevent a pregnancy from happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, emergency contraception pills, the word contraception within the word of pills, it's not the same as abortion pills.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, to use the word contraceptive pills, to me, in this circumstance, is abortion pills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, you can probably consider it all. If somebody's taking contraceptive pills, they're not taking birth control pills. Birth control pills are to prevent conception. Contraception pills.
Emergency contraception.
Emergency. Yeah, that's a different. Yeah, the emergency. The idea of emergency is to make sure there is no contraception. conception, or if there is conception, that it ends, that the cellular division ends.
Okay. So we're saying we don't know about whether it's abortion or miscarriage because there's no confirmation of pregnancy.
Correct.
It's not birth control because
Emergency contraception pills.
it's emergency contraception pills. You don't consider those contraception or birth control. And something else just seems negligible because we haven't said anything definitive about the other three. Is that?
It has to be determined if there was a pregnancy or not.
Okay.
Because the idea with the emergency contraception pills is to end the possibility that there was ever a conception.
And what about their use of condoms?
That's a form of birth control.
Okay. We'll change the story slightly. Instead of using condoms during sex, they had unprotected sex, vaginal sex. The same thing happens. The next day, they go to the pharmacy to get emergency contraceptive pills, and they take the pills as directed. Would you characterize their experience as abortion, miscarriage, birth control, something else?
We don't know if there's a pregnancy or not, because it's like the next day they didn't take a pregnancy test, but the intention is to end if there was anything if there was a conception, to end that process of cellular division for that the growth of the fetus.
One more change to person C's story. This time they used condoms when they had penile vaginal sex with their partner. The condom breaks, and 4 days later, person C has a copper IUD inserted.
Yeah, this is the situation where, I don't think somebody can put in an IUD by themselves. That's the doctor has to put that in.
Yeah.
And the doctor would, you're given all these questions, are you pregnant? And then they also take the pregnancy test. And I doubt a doctor would put in a copper IUD or whatever IUD if the person was pregnant. Because they would say, well, we have to perform an abortion, or this is where you're at. You got to make a choice. You have to make a decision.
Okay, so let's just say that it's implied that the person had a negative pregnancy test.
A negative pregnancy test, and they get the IUD?
Only because they had the IUD inserted.
Oh.
That's my.
Oh, so they already have an IUD inserted?
No. So after the condom breaks, 4 days later, they go to the doctor and have the IUD inserted.
Regardless of whether they're pregnant or not? I mean, they'd have to know they have to know if they're pregnant or not. Like, I actually have to, I'd have to look up if a doctor would put in an IUD without a pregnancy test. I don't know that.
Right. And
I don't think they would, because that could be negligence, because again, an IUD can compromise a fetus. And so then there could be big problems with that.
So I'm saying let's take the leap and assume that they gave a pregnancy test. The pregnancy test was negative because they did insert the IUD.
Oh wait, so they go to the doctor. The doctor does not do a pregnancy test.
Well, let's assume that it doesn't say it here, but let's assume that they did, because the last sentence.
This would have to assume that the doctor did not do a pregnancy test and put this IUD in anyway.
Oh, I was assuming, and you're right, this doesn't tell you either way, but I was assuming that the doctor did do a pregnancy test, was being responsible.
And the test was negative?
Yes.
And then they put in the copper IUD? That's birth control.
Okay.
That means I'm not pregnant, but I want to make sure that I don't get pregnant.
Okay. All right. Again, It's intentionally ambiguous, so that's true. But I'm just positing that the doctor was being responsible and
Did a
did
pregnancy.
the right things.
And the person was not pregnant. Yeah, sure, put in an IUD.
Okay. All right. Person D.
I hope that this is gonna like skew the entire stuff. I don't know. Probably not. Oh, you know, who knows? Maybe somebody is just as clear as it on me, you know? People should be, actually. People should be clear about, there should be no, fudging what is and what isn't. That's it, people should know what they're doing and be informed. It's very important that people are informed, given all the information.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's important people make decisions, with knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That people don't have decisions made for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because that leads to, all kinds of things. And, I've read the horror stories.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about that. You say you've read horror stories.
Yeah, both sides, I can't bring any to mind. I mean, I remember the extreme ones,
Okay.
Like I knew a lady that had she was a cancer survivor, desperate to get pregnant, did all kinds of in vitro, had an ectopic, ended it, but yet she calls it her wandering soul. So, her and her husband, our wandering soul.
Mm-hmm.
And then she did get pregnant with twins, and it was I forget what it was. A very difficult. I think when the children were born, they had to be in intensive care or whatever, and one almost didn't make it. And I don't know. I think, like miraculously, neither of the twins, have problems. But it seemed as if these kids could be, or one of them at least, might have lifelong problems. But I think they didn't. So,
That's good.
yeah. But, then there's some people who have massive, massive problems. It's terrible, but people make decisions, and,
Okay.
But, abortion is intentional. Don't sugarcoat it. It's still an abortion. If, when somebody ends a pregnancy, it intentionally ends a pregnancy, it's abortion. That's it. Like I said, no judgment on the circumstances. That goes into something else. But really, it's not any. I would say for most people, I don't know. I actually don't know. Like, is it a difficult decision? Is it not a difficult decision? It depends on the person.
Sure.
It really depends on the person. Some people, I've known people who claim to have had 12 abortions. And then I read later on, how did they even get to 12? Because after 3 or 4, it's like the uterus can't even support anymore. So I don't know I never looked into what is the state of affairs for the uterus at that point. But to that person, it was like a form of birth control for them.
Okay.
Yeah, she may have even said it was nothing. It was like nothing to have an abortion for this person.
Okay.
Which,
Did you know this person?
yeah, coworker.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you too long.
No, it's okay.
All right. So person D. Person D undergoes IVF treatment and and a total of 8 embryos are created. After 5 rounds of embryo implantation, person D becomes pregnant and gives birth to a healthy baby. Person D decides to discard the remaining 3 embryos.
What's the question?
Would you characterize this experience as either
the
abortion, miscarriage, birth control, something else, or some combination?
The discarding of the remaining 3 embryos is abortion.
Okay.
Just like I read an article years ago about there was a blackout And this fertility clinic, their refrigerator with the embryos shut off because there's no power. That's like massive abortions going on. You know, the entire refrigerator of embryos. People don't look at it like that, or you know, it's kind of like it wasn't said in the article. There was 500 embryos and all 500 died. Didn't say that. It just said the refrigerator shut off.
Right.
That's it. But the reality is, these are embryos. And however they're stored or whatever, they're still embryos. It's not like sperm and egg. Separate embryos.
Okay. Sorry, so you said this is abortion.
I didn't, after 5 rounds of embryo implantation. So these 5 were miscarriages. Okay, because they implanted the embryo. It doesn't say what happened, but it's understood that they didn't take.
Well, no. Person B becomes pregnant and gives birth to a healthy baby.
Right. Well, they didn't
I
put
see
the
what
embryo.
you're saying.
Yeah, they didn't put the embryo. They didn't put 5 embryos in her and have 1 baby.
Right.
There was 5 rounds of embryo implantation, which means that it didn't take. So those embryos were miscarried.
Okay.
And then the rest of the embryos discarded. Those 3 are abortions.
Changing the story slightly. Instead of discarding
But
them.
actually, that's interesting. Okay, 5 rounds. After 5 rounds, so it's actually 9 embryos, right? Or unless, I mean, maybe that doesn't matter because person D gives birth to a healthy baby after 5 rounds. So one of the 5 went to term.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, this is great. So instead of discarding the remaining 3 embryos, the remaining 3 embryos are implanted at a time in their menstrual cycle when the embryos are not actually able to implant.
Who would do that? You gotta. Who would go to a place and there's doctors there? I guess these people are implanting are doctors. Oh, you're having your period right now. Let's implant this. Nobody's going to do that. And eventually 8 embryos are period. After 5 rounds of embryo, because person D decides to have the remaining 3 embryos implanted during a time in their cycle when the embryos are not able to implant. This doesn't make any sense. You know, no doctor is going to implant an embryo. Why would somebody, you know what it takes to do this kind of thing? IVF treatment? This is a serious treatment. Nobody's going to risk having, nobody who wants to have a successful pregnancy is going to go and have their embryos implanted. That means they want to be pregnant and have children. When their uterus is going to reject these embryos. Nobody's going to do that.
Let's
say they did. Okay, right?
Let's say they did. Maybe that is an intentional act.
That let me just get rid of these embryos in this way. What the hell is this person doing? Trying to free themselves of the idea that it's not an abortion. They don't have the idea that it's an abortion. The intentionality. It comes back to the intentionality. Intentionally implanting these embryos with the idea that they are going to miscarry, because that's what happened when it doesn't implant. It means that the person's going to miscarry. So the intention is to miscarry. There's the intention. It's an abortion then.
Okay.
Remaining 3 embryos. It's like, might as well just not, might as well just say, hey, throw them in the garbage.
And just for the sake of argument, let's say that they intended to carry, but it just so happened that
They would be advised not to implant in a point in their cycle when they're not able to implant. They would be advised.
Fair, absolutely. I'm just being devil's advocate. Okay. So person E. Sorry. And is there anything in person D's story that could change your characterization as them having had an abortion or miscarriage, given the timing of their embryo implantation?
No, nothing changes. No, because the intention was to get rid of the embryos by way of intentional miscarriage. An intentional miscarriage is an abortion, you know.
Person E misses their period. They order late period pills online to cause their period to start. They take the pills as directed, and soon after their period comes as usual.
What's a period pill? What's late period pills?
You've never heard of late period pills? Okay. So I have this nifty definition here. Period pills bring back a period when it's late. Instead of taking a pregnancy test, people take these pills to bring on bleeding like a period. The pills may cause period-like symptoms such as bleeding, cramping, and nausea. If taken when pregnant, the pills will end the pregnancy.
I'm calling it, what do you mean? They're calling emergency contraception pills period pill. It's the same thing as the emergency contraceptive pills then.
Okay.
Okay.
What if I told you that these could be taken later than what emergency contraception?
The idea is if it's intentionally to prevent pregnancy, intentionally to prevent the possible pregnancy, you know, because birth control is to prevent pregnancy. But if if somebody believes they're pregnant, they did not take pregnancy test, and they take these so-called period pills that are like emergency contraception pills, we don't know if the person's pregnant or not. But if they're like, what, 2 months, how many months? How many months can somebody take emergency contraception pills is like, day or 3 days after, right? And
Yes.
but you're saying this is even later. This can be like a month or so. And
Well, let's say I intentionally didn't give a period, but like let's say it's 2 days late. Their period is 2 days late.
your period is 2 days late, and they're suspecting that they are pregnant.
Well,
I mean, why
They
would
just want
who
the
want,
period to
who
start.
would wait? Why would somebody want that? Why would somebody want their period to start? You're always waiting, like, okay, oh, it didn't come in 5 days. Oh, I was freer for 5 days. You know. I don't think any woman would take something to start their period if the period hadn't started in 2-3 days. I mean, what is the purpose of that?
Okay. What if I told you it was a week late?
Same thing, week late. Nobody, I would say most women are happy that their period comes a week late. Oh, and then the period comes. All right, so it was a week late. But
They're a week late and they're nervous, so they get these pills.
and then their period starts. What are they doing? Is the intention they're nervous? Their intention is to ends possible pregnancy, and soon after their period comes, they didn't wait to see if they didn't even do a pregnancy test. I don't, people would do to me, unless somebody is trying to rid themselves of thinking, for whatever reason that might be, a pregnancy test always comes first. take a pregnancy test. That comes first.
Okay. So, they haven't taken a pregnancy test, but they take these pills. Are we saying that this is birth control?
No,
No?
it's some sort of way to end a possible pregnancy.
Okay.
And if their period comes, we still don't know. We'd have to test whatever is expelled to see if there was a pregnancy. Test what's expelled. If it ends up in the toilet, then that's that person's secret. That's person's. People do whatever.
So, because you're saying that it's their intention to end a possible pregnancy. Are we characterizing it as an abortion or miscarriage or something else?
Well, it's an abortion because if it's a possible pregnancy, that means that the person doesn't know they're pregnant or not, but they believe that they are. And then, they have their period, but it's the intention. I'm intentionally ending this. It's like.
And I think I understand what you're going to say, but is there anything in the story that would change your characterization of this being an abortion?
Yeah, a negative pregnancy test.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And maybe do a couple of them. And wait longer than 5 days to take the period pills.
I forgot what you said about, did you characterize emergency contraception as abortion or miscarriage? Or?
Yeah. No, it's abortion. Emergency contraception. It's the intention to end a possible pregnancy without knowing. Who would? People do it, but without knowing that there's a pregnancy. That's just people operating in a way that doesn't have they don't know what they're doing. There's no, they didn't want to be pregnant, basically. They didn't want to be pregnant. And that's it,
Fair. Okay, so person F. Person F is 9 weeks pregnant and starts to bleed heavily for several hours. Their doctor says that the fetus will not develop further and prescribes pills to end the pregnancy. About a month later, person F gets their period. Would you characterize this experience as having an abortion, a miscarriage, using birth control, something else?
Well, do they take the pills? It says their doctor says the fetus will not, and prescribes pills and the pregnancy. Do they take the pills? If they took the pills, and about a month later, person F gets their, this is like, do they even do this? Do doctors even do this? Do doctors after 9, that's what 9 weeks is 2 months and 1 week pregnant. They start to bleed heavily for several hours. That's awful, right? Their doctor says the fetus will not develop further. Why isn't it taken care of right then and there? Why does this person have to be prescribed pills to? This is not ending the this is, if the fetus is not will not develop, they're not really, it's not even considered pregnancy anymore. That means that their body, the fetus is dead. They still have this dead fetus in their body, basically. So they're not pregnant. My definition of pregnant is there's a viable fetus in the body.
Okay.
Why wouldn't the doctor take care of it right then and there? Why wait a month? This person is going through torture over here. Did they stop bleeding? After several hours, starts to bleed heavily for several hours. Is this bleeding stopping? You know what I mean? That's a big thing. The bleeding, if the person is continuing to bleed, that's a really terrible situation to be in.
Mm-hmm.
It's very horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Why a month later? What does this mean? Gets their period. Their period never ended. If they start to bleed heavily for several hours and then the bleeding stopped, like what's going on here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The bleeding has to stop, and then a month later, it's like as if it's another cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's in this period? When person F gets their period. What is that? That's not a period. The person still has the fetus, the dead fetus inside them, and they get their period. That's not considered a period. That's considered, whether the person if the person takes the pills. This is a very confusing situation. Okay, because this doctor would take care of this right away.
Okay.
The doctor determines this fetus will not develop further.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor will take care of this right away.
Mm-hmm.
Any doctor, that person would be going to another doctor.
Mm.
Any doctor that sends a woman home bleeding that has a dead fetus in them, here's some pills and go home. That's like, here's some pills and go home. You'll feel better. No, absolutely not. I would demand, this is going to, me personally, I would say, no, we're going to take care of this right now. I'm not going home. And a month later, that's a whole month, okay? We don't know what's going on for this person. What if this fetus becomes toxic? This is another dangerous situation. No.
Okay. Let me narrow it down a little bit. Let's assume that the doctor prescribes abortion pills as their treatment.
As their treatment. To expel the fetus?
To end the pregnancy, right?
Well, it wouldn't. My understanding is that abortion pills causes the contraction to end it right away. It's like it's to expel right away. It's not going to happen a month later.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. And the interpretation of the last sentence, I'm saying now, will be that it happened, and then a month later, the person had a period. Person F got a period.
So they took the pills, they expelled the fetus, and a month later, the person gets their period. That's the fetus is dead.
Okay.
Will not develop. The fetus will not develop further. That means there's no more cell division going on. That means that the fetus is brain dead. That means that the fetus might, like we said in other ones, has no cardiac signals. The fetus is dead.
Okay.
When this means, when it means that will not develop further, means that the fetus is dead, and prescribes pills to expel.
Yes.
It's no longer an abortion. It's an
Okay.
expelling of the fetus. It's not even a pregnancy anymore. They're no longer pregnant. Even if a dead fetus is inside the person, they're no longer pregnant.
Okay.
They have a dead fetus.
Okay.
That's what that means. And a month later, the person gets their period. Well, then they're back to their prior condition before they were pregnant, before they had the dead fetus in them.
Okay.
They recovered. There's no complications from having had the 9 weeks pregnant, no fetus. It's the person. When the fetus is dead, that person is basically, it's a miscarriage, even though they haven't expelled it yet. If they need to take something to expel the fetus that is dead, then it's not an abortion. It's the fetus is dead. It's not an intentional situation. Yeah.
Okay. So we're saying.
Well,
This
what do
seems
they
like a
do?
miscarriage.
Well, it's got to be clear what people are doing. Miscarriage is an old word, and it indicates that the fetus was naturally expelled as well. It doesn't, back in the day, that's what would happen when there were no drugs. But the people would either carry the child to term, or they would die because the necrotic tissue killed them, or the body would naturally expel the dead fetus. The natural expulsion, old world, is they miscarried. But if somebody's still carrying that dead fetus and then they have to take pills to remove the dead fetus, it's still a miscarriage because they're not intentionally ending the life of of the pregnancy.
Okay. Okay, great. Gonna change the story slightly. So tests were unable to confirm whether the fetus will develop further in this scenario.
No, okay, then they're gonna have an abortion over here. If the doctor prescribes a pill to end the pregnancy, they're
Yes.
ending the pregnancy. They don't know, that's an abortion.
Okay.
Because people can live through this and the fetus does develop further. We don't know yet.
Okay.
So they're taking pills to end the pregnancy, then it's abortion. About a month later, person getting out. Okay.
Fair. One more change. So in this scenario, person F is told that the fetus is measuring weeks behind, but still the test is unable to confirm fetal death without doing additional testing.
Okay, wait a minute. Weeks behind what?
Development.
In development. So they're 9 weeks, but the little thing is not doing anything. Okay. Tests show that the fetus is measuring, but tests are unable to confirm fetal death without more testing in a week. Person F does not want to wait for more testing. The doctor prescribes it. It's an abortion. Get rid of it. About a month later, person, they just decided to, not wait in the end, this not even see if this fetus is going. That obviously can be a situation. Oh, your fetus is like, see if they miscarriage. 9 weeks, 2 months is like, it's like hardly anything as far as activity in there in the abdomen. What's waiting another week? What's waiting another at that state? It's so little that it's not going to toxify the person. It's not going to lead to the death of the person. It's not going to compromise the person. It's only two months or whatever, so it's not going to turn into like a necrotic tissue situation.
What in this story would have to change in order for you to change how you classified it?
If they said, we took some tests of the fetus and this fetus has cancer cells in it. You need to get an abortion. You need to get an abortion.
Okay, so that's still, you classified this scenario as an abortion before. You're still going to classify it as abortion. So nothing could change in this story that would have you classify it as perhaps a miscarriage.
If they waited a week and the fetus is now went into cardiac, there's no cardiac activity like was described, no brain activity, then it's not an abortion, it's a miscarriage.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a couple more. Okay, so person G. Person G is 10 weeks pregnant. When they have their first ultrasound, there's no cardiac activity, and the doctor recommends having the fetus removed. Person G has the procedure to remove the fetus. Would you characterize their experience as an abortion, miscarriage, using birth control, or something else?
Well, no cardiac activity. Is it most sincerely dead? As the Wizard of Oz, right? Are you most sincerely dead?
I don't remember that, but okay.
The coroner comes. He sings a little song. I think it was
Okay.
one of the little people
Yeah.
at the end that he declares the wicked witch is dead.
God. Yeah.
And the
Are
coroner
you most
comes?
sincerely dead?
Are you the coroner has determined that most sincerely dead.
Okay.
Their first one, there's no guard. They recommend having the fetus removed. Yeah. They have the fetus removed? As long as it was sincerely dead. We wouldn't want to have a situation where the person's like, but what if it was alive, and they wanted to have this pregnancy. We're not saying here somebody wants to have the baby, do they not, someone that's 10 weeks pregnant, it sounds like they want to have this child. There's no cardiac activity, well, as my aunt would say, too bad for you. You know what I mean? Like, you're not having the baby, it's dead. And it's recommended to have the fetus removed. I'm sure the doctor would go over why it's recommended. you know, in this situation, this is not gonna happen, you wanna get pregnant again more quickly, then do it now. You know, that is, yeah, they miscarried because they didn't have it, the baby's not viable anymore. Viable meaning no brain activity, no heart activity, you know.
Okay. So I'm going to change the story slightly again. Person G, the tests show that there is still cardiac activity, but the person G has begun to bleed heavily.
You know, I don't know what that means for women in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Could the bleeding stop? But the doctor, why does he recommend? Is it because it's going to die anyway? How long have they been bleeding for? They have begun to bleed heavily. That's very scary.
Mm-hmm.
They can spontaneously expel the fetus. 10 weeks is almost 3 months, still tiny. They remove the fetus. I don't know, wait till it's dead.
Okay. So in this scenario,
It's an abortion. They aborted.
They aborted. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Changing the scenario again. The fetus is measuring weeks behind, and testing is needed to find out if it will develop further. Person G doesn't want to wait and has the procedure to remove the fetus.
Abortion.
Because
Because it's not dead.
Okay. So for person G, the only what would have to change in their story for you to change their characterization from abortion to something else, miscarriage, birth control, something else?
Well, they're not bleeding like the other situations, which adds another layer of awfulness. Well, the doctor says more testing is needed to find out if the fetus will develop further, which will take weeks, 10 weeks. What testing? Like, which will take weeks, you know. Something can happen in a week, especially if the fetus is measuring weeks behind it. I don't even know what that means, you know, what happens. 10 weeks is what, 2.5 months? That means what's weeks behind? If it's like the state of a month instead of 2.5 months, but it's still growing? What is going on here? Just wait it out. What's the big deal? Does not want to wait. Why? Why don't they want to wait? Do they even want to have the child? There's all kinds of things that happen where there's all kinds of stories, you know, that different situations happen. The body is an amazing thing. The body is amazing. So, you know, we don't know whose body can respond in which ways. So, you know, does this person, whatever, just wait, you know.
Okay.
Would anything change? No, it's an abortion.
Okay.
Something change the story? Would it be a miscarriage? Well, if the person then expels the fetus naturally, suddenly, unexpectedly, it's a miscarriage.
Okay. What if they waited and, in fact, the tests show that the fetus will not develop further?
Is there brain activity? Is there cardiac activity? Yes, your fetus is the size of a nickel, and it's not going to develop further, but you're going to keep carrying it. Your body will naturally keep carrying it. Wait till you have a period. I don't know. I think the body would, I don't even know what the body would do actually in that kind of situation. 10 weeks pregnant, wait weeks. What's weeks? Another month? I don't know. I think the body would wait for the body. Wait for the body to do whatever it needs to do naturally.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, leave it so that you don't have to make a decision, and the body makes the decision for you. And if you got to start from scratch again to get pregnant, then that's, you know,
Before we move on, I mean, we've talked about situations where the body doesn't expel the pregnancy, right? You've mentioned necrotic tissue a few times.
If the fetus is dead and the body does not expel, yeah.
Maybe that's I'm just.
Oh, if that was a situation,
maybe that's
you're
a
going
reason
to.
why the doctor is recommending.
If the fetus is not dead, but is necrotic, you got to get an abortion, get rid of it, because you're going to hurt yourself. Who knows what's going to happen? You're going to toxify your body. It's still going to be an abortion because the thing's not dead, but like don't mess around with the terminology. You know what I mean? It's like it's still an abortion, but because it's not dead,
had died.
then it's then they're going to remove it. The procedure to remove it, then it's the fetus is dead and they're removing the dead fetus. That's because the person miscarried and yet the body hasn't expelled the fetus naturally. So it's a miscarriage then.
Okay. All right. Just spitballing. All right. Last scenario. Person H misses their period and begins taking daily oral contraceptive pills or birth control pills. A few weeks later, they get their period. Would you characterize it as an abortion, miscarriage, using birth control, something else, or some kind of combination?
And they never took a pregnancy test.
No.
It's again intentionality. Misses their period and begins saying, "Why take oral contraceptive pills? Why weren't they taking them before?" Oral contraceptive pills either regulate the period or they, have the period go in a state of suspension. So they're not regulating their period. They miss it. Well, do they engage in sexual activity? Penile, vaginal.
Some people say it like that. Vaginal, vaginal.
Yeah. if they're having intercourse and they don't have their period, it depends what they're doing. Depends.
Tell me more about what
Okay, person H misses their period and begins taking oral contraceptive pills, birth control pills. They miss one period, and they begin to take birth control pills. Why? Why did they go and take birth control pills? Why are they? The doctor has to prescribe birth control pills. So why are they going to take birth control pills? Because they want to prevent birth. Oral contraceptive pills are used for other things. So are they sexually active? And they want to prevent pregnancy, and that's the reason for the oral contraception. And they have their period. Like, is the idea to have their period because they missed their period? But they're taking birth control pills. Like I said, they miss their period, but sometimes oral contraceptives are used to regulate the period. This is not saying anything about pregnancy. This is not saying anything about sexual interactions.
Yeah. So let's say that's the case.
That they are definitely sexually active, and they don't want to have pregnancy, and they miss their period, and then they start taking birth control pills without having a pregnancy test. A few weeks later, they get their period. Oh, did they test the period material that came out of them to see if it was a pregnancy? Probably not. They don't care. Definitely not a miscarriage. Definitely not birth control. They're not taking. It's a weird situation, because I don't know everything. For me to classify something as abortion, for me to classify it in this situation that I don't know all the information.
What would change in the story for you to classify it as an abortion?
They take a pregnancy test.
And it's positive.
positive.
Okay. What about a miscarriage?
They take a pregnancy test, and it's miscarriage, and it's negative. Then it's not. They're not pregnant, so they don't miscarry, and they don't have an abortion.
What would have to change for you to classify the situation as having used birth control?
Well, they start taking the birth control because they don't want to be pregnant, and they have missed their period. It's not, birth control is to prevent conception.
Okay.
So we don't know in this situation if there was conception.
Okay.
So, I mean, if this person is so on it, then you're going to be required to be on it with everything else. You know, people already know how things work, right? They better, unless there's like something awful happening, you know, like you were saying at the very beginning, if there's a child that doesn't know anything, but most children do know when something's happening to them that is that's like awful for them.
Okay.
That should not happen.
Okay.
They know, children know when something should not be happening to them that's happening to them. They know. And if they don't say anything, it's because of fear.
Yeah. Okay. You bring up something very interesting to me. You said that contraception or birth control is to prevent conception, right? But you also said that people use birth control pills or oral contraception for things other than contraception.
Hormone regulation.
Hormone regulation.
Yeah.
So could this be a situation of something like that?
Well, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know because they missed their period. But if we're going back to exactly what this says here,
Yeah.
and not that they were sexually active and all that, what is the intention behind, why they want their period to come back? People can miss their period for months and months. Different things, either hormonally or nutrition-wise. And so if they want their period, and then they get their period, well, then they've achieved what they wanted. They missed their period. The doctor says, oh, well, we can get your period back as long as you take these pills. And they start getting their period back. And there was no, fear or idea that they were pregnant, didn't want to be pregnant, Again, it's whether the person wants to be pregnant or not, wants to get pregnant or not. So that is not built into this. We don't know enough information about what's going on with why they're missing their period. So to start the period, if the doctor's saying take these pills, it'll start your period again, and they get their period, well then successful. This person this regimen was then successful for the person to get the period back. It doesn't say anything about abortion, doesn't say anything about sexual activity, intentional to get pregnant or not pregnant.
Okay. Again, the ambiguity is sort of purposeful, and I just want to hear more about what would get you to bring
This
more
is so
clarity
vague.
to you.
It's a something else because we don't know if the person is sexually active. It's not saying anything.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the whole thing was it abortion, miscarriage? So the idea is for this whole thing is that there is pregnancy or there isn't pregnancy. So, because there is not with that, I mean, it goes back to intentionality of the person and what if they miss their period and they're believe that they are pregnant and takes birth control pills, and then why would they believe they're pregnant? Some people, like I said, know the minute they conceive that they're pregnant. People have no idea. You read these crazy stories. I had no idea I was pregnant. How did you not know you were pregnant? Nothing? Do you not know your body at all? Do you not understand? Do you not know anything? Did you not even engage sexually?
Immaculate conception.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, it's always interesting to hear sort of when, what kind of additional information you want to learn, you want to add to the story in order to make some more definitive classifications. So, I know they're tricky scenarios. All right. So we're almost done. Just a couple more questions. These are questions that are more personal to you, so you can, share as much.
I'll probably
detail.
skip a lot.
Okay,
But
that's
just
completely
up
fine.
front, I'll probably be like, disclose that.
Yeah, no, that's completely fine. In your lifetime, how many pregnancies have you had that resulted in a live birth?
0.
0. And how many pregnancies in your lifetime have you had that ended in a miscarriage, stillbirth, ectopic pregnancy?
0.
Okay. An abortion?
0.
0. Okay. Have there been any times in your lifetime where you thought you might be pregnant?
Just a little bit of fear, but no, there was no I've had massive uterine issues, but so I've experienced what could look like, what's alarming and what isn't, yeah, so it's not that I don't have knowledge of things.
Yeah. Okay. Can you share a little bit more about these uterine issues?
I guess some things are vague and were not fully determined, and other things are not. I have what is called innumerable fibroids. They can't even count how many I have. And some are really big. So I'll just say I've had bleeding issues, and I've had very bad bleeding issues.
Yeah.
And when I look back and I was younger, I would say things were pretty bad, but not as bad as when I couldn't manage anymore.
Were there ever any times when you're having these bleeding episodes that you thought maybe this is
A miscarriage?
a miscarriage?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Okay. And I just want to go back to our definitions of miscarriage and abortion. Have there been any times, or can you think of scenarios where the line between an abortion and miscarriage are blurry, or are they very separate in your mind?
They're very separate.
Okay.
And abortion is
And that is
the intention.
okay.
That is because abortion is the intentional ending of the life of a fetus, whatever's conceived. First there's the zygote, then there's the embryo, then there's the fetus.
Okay.
Actually, before the zygote, it's the blastocyst. So I'm very well informed. So yes, there's it's very delineated for me.
Okay.
I'm a person that wants to make informed decisions. I don't want to be like, oh, I didn't know. In fact, if I didn't know about something, that's very, very horrible. To withhold information from somebody is very bad.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think people have to be informed 1,000% and not be afraid to ask questions. Yeah.
Okay. Can you think of any scenarios where using birth control might be considered an abortion?
birth control that is used to prevent conception is birth control.
Okay.
Anything used after to prevent the acceleration of cell division after conception is not birth control anymore. It's an abortion medication or procedure or whatever.
Okay. Right. Thank you so much. We're done. I'm gonna turn
Okay.
off the recording.
I hope I was helpful, especially to
Absolutely.
people that, don't know or been,
Yeah.
information has been withheld from them
Yeah.
or confused. People should not be confused. We're humans. We should not be. We're not supposed to be confused about anything.
Yeah. Well.
Obviously, we do get confused.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't be purposefully confused.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
I can see that. Yeah.
Clear any confusion. Confusion is of the dark side. Really,
Okay.
it's like
Yeah.
it's from the underworld.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. As you can tell from the questions, I think that there's a lot of conversation going on around what is an abortion, what is miscarriage, what is, how do we define the line between, those two things, or contraception and an abortion. I think that a lot of people are not as clear cut in their conceptions of these terms as you are. So it's always
They
great
are
to
not.
hear. They are not.
They are absolutely not, and it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. It's by design, actually.
You think?
Yes,
Okay.
because somebody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody's supposed to have an upper hand on anybody, really.
Yeah.
Not when it comes to making, a decision about somebody's body.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. A survey for you to take. Yeah. Okay, so this is a demographic survey. You can just fill out that information. We'll be done. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
What if I can't answer this? Do I just skip it?
Yeah, you can skip it, yeah.
There's one unanswered question on this page. Would you like to continue without answering?
Yeah, let's see. Okay.
Because I was at.
Thank you. All right, so the last thing, this is just an information sheet, a resource guide for some of the topics that we talked about, like period pills, pregnancy options, etc. And then there's some Jersey-specific information on the other
Okay.
pages, okay?
All right.
This is for you.
Oh, thank you.
Did you take any snacks?
I did not.
Please take some, because
Oh.
I can't take them back. I don't want to take them back.
Oh, to where? To where?
To my office in New York, so
Oh, I don't know if I can. I really don't, I mean,
Maybe the soda, the pop.
I'll take this.
Okay.
And, well, if you want me to take all three of these sodas, this I will definitely.
Okay.
Would that be helpful?
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
extremely helpful.
Because I can do this. I'm like a low sugar, I have to be low sugar
Okay.
person.
Oh, I wish I had more trail mix for you then.
You had more what?
Trail mix.
No worries. I don't even want, I'm only taking it because you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm forcing it on you.
yeah, I don't need, believe me, I don't need it. I have plenty of everything. I'm lucky to. All right. I think it's still cold out there, unfortunately, but
Went from hot to freezing.
I know. I think tomorrow's the last day of really, really cold, or maybe today, I don't know if it's either today or
Oh,
tomorrow.
I haven't checked. Is that
Yeah, I think today was like, it's gonna be slightly warmer today or something. Even put away my winter. I didn't put away my winter, I was like, put it away mentally.
Yeah. So you're going to go down to the first floor. It was great meeting you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, thanks.